The Electoral College has made it official. Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. Electors gathered in state capitals around the country and in the District of Columbia to certify the electoral vote outcome from November 8th. Some groups opposed to Mr. Trump made a final appeal to electors to defy their state's outcome and not vote for him. But only 2 electors in Texas ended up voting for people other than Mr. Trump. And Hillary Clinton lost 5 of her electoral votes. That's because 4 electors in Washington state and 1 in Hawaii defied the popular vote in their states. Let's bring in our CBS News elections director, Anthony Salvanto. All right, so Anthony, we heard a lot about so-called faithless electors, but I want to get a sense from you. Was there ever a real possibility that there was going to be a lot of these faithless electors in states where Mr. Trump won the popular vote?
No.
No.
Of all the things in 2016 that
Right.
surprised us, this was not going to be one of them. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The biggest one is, remember who electors tend to be, and that is they are part of the parties. If you're a Democratic elector, you're probably somehow connected to the Democratic Party, and the Republicans. So not only did they personally probably want at least Donald Trump, if not loyalty to the Republican Party, but they may have even worked in that regard. So it's not very likely that people are going to start switching, back and forth. I think a lot of the dialogue you saw back and forth leading up to this is part of the fact that we are still so divided as a country, and there were a lot of folks who might have wanted to see something that just wasn't going to happen.
Well, in the days leading to the election, we talked a lot about Hillary Clinton seemed to have the electoral votes, but of course we saw that wasn't the case. But can you explain for folks that saw those paths for Mr. Trump as being incredibly difficult, what happened there?
Yeah, we used to think, or did think, that the Democrats had this built-in advantage in the Electoral College, and that was because all of these states had reliably voted Democratic all the time, or at least for a generation or more. Well, Donald Trump won those states, albeit by very close margins, and I'm talking about places like Michigan, like Wisconsin, even Pennsylvania. In fact, that's why you now see this difference between the Electoral College vote and the popular vote, because what he did was he won the states he won, a lot of them, by tight margins. Meanwhile, in the big states like New York, like California, like Washington State, Hillary Clinton ran up big margins of her own in the popular vote, but that doesn't net her any more Electoral College votes. So that's part of that larger discrepancy that you've seen. And some red states got a little closer to her as well. That helped her popular vote margin. But in the end, what you're seeing today is the thing that counts.
So as you know, Anthony, we have polling going back decades where people have been asked about the Electoral College, and their feeling is that, including a poll last week, 54% of registered voters said they'd rather the popular vote pick the next president. So realistically, is there any chance that this is ever going to change?
That is also not likely.
Okay.
And look, this goes all the way back to the Constitution, the writing of the Constitution. A lot of those same arguments are still with us today, which is how much power should smaller states have? And a lot of folks, particularly those who live in those states, think that they should have a larger say. If this were just a popular vote, the argument goes, then the candidates would all be in the big cities, right? New York, California, where they get the most bang for their buck, talk to the most people. But what the argument for the Electoral College is, and the smaller states would probably go this way, is that that gives them a chance to be in play, that they get electoral votes, and therefore the candidates might have to go there to the Iowas of the world and the smaller states,
yeah,
where we then would end up being the battlegrounds, and that puts a lot more states in play. That's the argument. And of course, the counter argument is, hey, people are used to getting or thinking they get exactly what they want. Therefore, it would be direct. That's an argument that's at least 200 years old, Elaine.
I have the feeling the debate is just going to continue. Anthony Salvanto, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.